wanted to know my experience with childbirth. As you may have noticed, I do have a child. Crazy little guy running around. He's mine. And some of you may or may not know that I did have a daughter previously. 2 years, almost 3 years ago, we had a daughter. And both of their births were rather similar. Seth's was a little different, so I'm going to talk about his birth because there's a little bit extra that happened with Seth, and then otherwise they were basically both the same. So, both the births were planned C-sections, and Seth's due dates changed a couple of times because I ran out of room a little bit quicker with Seth than I did with Willow. So they decided like a couple of days beforehand that, okay, in like 3 days we're gonna get this baby out of you because you have no room left and you are suffering pretty greatly. So Seth was born April 28th. It was planned, and I got prepared the night before, fasting and just getting ready, packing, and doing all the last minute duties around the house to get ready for a baby to come. And then about 5 o'clock in the morning, we headed on over to the hospital, and they took my vitals, they asked me all these questions, they got me ready, they put the IV in my hand, and did all the basic needs to prepare for a surgery. And then there was a lot of waiting around, and Brent and his mom were both there with me at the time, and Brent was not allowed to be in the operating room because I was put totally under, and that's just their policies that no one else can be in the room if someone is put totally under. So unfortunately, I nor Brent were able to witness the birth of either of our children, but it was the best decision I could make to do a C-section where I was put completely under, because for my safety, for my baby's safeties, it just was the best choice that I had there, because I most certainly did want to do a natural birth with pretty much no drugs, unless, I decided I just really can't do this. But I really wanted to try a natural water birth, actually, but it just wasn't in the cards for me to do that. So I had a C-section, and I was put completely under because with all of the scar tissue and whatnot on my back and how curved my spine is, it was just not safe for me to have an epidural, so I had to be put all the way under. And because I was put all the way under, the total C-section operation went as quick as possible, because a baby plus anesthesia is bad news. So they were in and out as quick as possible, and Brent was able to take pictures of Seth and Willow in the birthing room after, when they start taking them out, or, cleaning them all up and whatnot, when he's finally out and said and done. So that was nice. He got to see him basically get prepared for the new world. He just didn't get to see him come out from me to the new world. So he kind of saw a lot more than I did. But yeah, I'm rambling right now. So the next thing I remember with Seth is being woken up and being told that I wasn't going to be able to see him because he had a lot of issues, and he had some fluid in his lungs, and that's very common for C-section births, because usually all that fluid that they're surrounded by inside me, the amniotic fluid and whatnot, gets pushed out in the birth canal. But because he didn't go through the birth canal, that stuff didn't didn't get pushed out. And because of his hypothyroidism, it's common to get that kind of gunk in your lungs. Anyways, so he was kind of dealt an icky card when he was born because he had the fluid in his lungs and he had to have an oxygen hood pretty much the entire first day of his birth. I did not get to see him until like 8 o'clock at night the day he was born. And he was born at like 7 in the morning. So I was not a happy mommy. And yeah, he was born with hypothyroidism. And from what my OBGYN knew, it's not very common for babies to be born with that. It's more of an adult thing. So he had never heard of a baby being born with it. So I guess he was lucky. I don't know. And along with the hypothyroidism, it's very common for them to have a low resting heart rate. So he was hooked up to monitors, heart rate monitor. The first couple of months of his life, he had a heart rate monitor because he had a low resting heart rate, and anytime he got too comfortable, too relaxed, his heart would get very low, and it was very scary because that thing would go off and you would have to pretty much jostle him and stimulate him to make his heart go faster again and basically get him going again. And that was not fun. So because of that and having to be sent home with a heart rate monitor, we had to learn infant CPR and all that fun stuff. So I am certified with infant CPR and Heimlich maneuver and all that. So I haven't gotten it done since that day, the day we left the hospital, but I still remember how to do it. So that's a plus, right? I did not even give breastfeeding a try for very many reasons. A lot of it was to do with my physical abilities and disabilities, and I just knew that it would be excruciatingly painful for me to even, sit there for long periods of time while I'm breastfeeding or even pumping, because I don't do very well when I'm sitting still for very long. And add the fact that I had a C-section and being put all the way under and having all those drugs in me and whatnot, it was quite possible that I didn't even have enough milk to breastfeed. I know I didn't even try, but it's quite possible that it wouldn't have even happened because of all the crap that was in me, and adding another fact that I didn't even see Seth until way later after he was born, and then I wasn't even physically able to sit up for at least a day or two after he was born. So you just add in all of these factors, breastfeeding was just not something I wanted to give a try. And call me a bad mom, call me a quitter, call me anything you want, but it is what it is, and he's perfectly fine not being breastfed. He's happy, he's healthy. Yes, he does have hypothyroidism, but he had that before he was born, so it had nothing to do with anything I did wrong. But he's just fine not being breastfed. I have no concerns whatsoever with him being a formula-fed baby, so I don't see what the problem is, but a lot of people have different opinions on that, and that could be a different video, but just a long story short, it wasn't something that was going to be possible for us as a whole to even give it a try. So there's that. I was out of bed probably the second day. I was up walking around. I didn't really have that many painkillers because, I didn't really want to be all doped up while I was trying to enjoy my newborn child. So, yeah, I usually just took a shot of the IV meds, like, right before I was gonna, walk around, because we would walk up and down the halls, me and Brent and Seth. I would push Seth in the little cart that they had. They had a cart on wheels, and I would push him along, and Brent would pull my IV along, and we would just take walks up and down the hallway while we were in the hospital. And I would just move around as much as possible, sitting up in the chairs, I just tried to get as active as I could, as fast as I could, because I wanted out of there. The doctors and nurses were so surprised at how little of medicine I would take, because they're always, "Are you sure you don't want to take medicine? Are you sure?" Yeah, I've lived with pain worse than this for my entire life. I think I can handle a little bit more. So, pain medicine wasn't really an option for me that often. And yeah, I was recovering rather quickly. They were very surprised at how fast I recovered, but honestly, a C-section was nothing compared to the other surgeries I've gone through. So it was easy peasy. And I was out of the hospital probably 3 days after everything was said and done. And we left the hospital. We went to Walmart. We had to get some prescriptions for me and Seth. Because Seth still takes medicine every single day. He's taken it his entire life for his thyroid, and he does great with it. He is perfect with his medicine. He knows when I say it's medicine time, he comes over and he takes the medicine and swallows it just fine. But yeah, he's used to it. That's what he's done his entire life. He's taken medicine every single day. So it's just a routine for him. But yeah, we went home after, because it was rainy and crappy out, so we just went home and enjoyed our new little family. Just 3 of us. We were just basked in the glory of this new, amazing little being that was ours. And with Seth, I didn't really want a whole lot of help. I had a lot of help with Willow. I went to Brent's parents' house every single day when Brent went to work, so they could help me and do whatever, while I healed from my surgery. But with Seth, I just didn't really want to be a bother to anyone, and I just wanted to get on my own schedule as quick as possible and, be with my son, hog him to myself as much as I could. And I did fine. It really wasn't a big deal for me. I didn't really have all that much pain with Seth that I can remember. It was really nothing, like I said, compared to what I have gone through before. So, there's just always little things that you have to take into account. If I was going to lift him, I would make sure I was sitting down first, and usually he would be on, like, the couch, and I would, pick him up from the couch, from me sitting on the couch, or from him in his car seat, and me sitting on the couch. So it wasn't really that big of a deal to bend over and lift. And I didn't usually carry him around too often. I never really have ever carried him around too often, because I don't trust myself a whole lot, because I'm not always that stable. So there's just a lot of different things that you have to change for your abilities and your disabilities. So that's what I did. And hi. I thought I would just give you a little update since I went to my OBGYN today and we talked. And the best decision probably for me would be to get my tubes tied. Just no question, that's the best option for me, really. and me and Brandon have sat and talked about it, and we're set on it. So there is this there's a set date of October 4th, and that's when the surgery will be. It's outpatient, so, you know, he said I should be in there about 7 in the morning and probably out by noon or 1, depending on how fast it takes me to get all recuperated and whatnot. But, you know, they said it's not a very invasive surgery the way he does it, and just a few little pokes and prods here and there. That'll be that. And I've been getting a lot of people saying, you know, are you sure you want to do this, or is this what you want? Of course it's what I want. I'm the one that chose to do it. Nobody is making me. It's not, well, it is kind of medically necessary, but like I've said, it would probably, for me, it'd probably be very irresponsible if I did not get it done. It would be very foolish of me if I did not get it done, because I've been pregnant twice. I've had 2 babies, and that's most likely why my body is so bad off as it is now. It's as bad off as it is now, I should say, because being pregnant is just not a good deal for me, the way my body is and whatnot. And it's just a really good idea that I get it done. And my doctor didn't even hesitate to question, you know, anything. He even told me it's probably a really good idea that I get this done, because being pregnant a 3rd time would just be stupid. And it is something that I want to get done, because people are like, what if you want more kids? I already have one. Why do I need more? I have a perfectly wonderful little boy, as you have seen many a times, and I just really don't have the need to have multiple children, because the one I have, he's just fine for me. And, you know, I'm happy with just the one. Really, I am. Truly and honestly, I'm happy with one. Most people find that crazy, because it's very rare to find people with one child by choice. You know, sometimes people can't have children at all, and they get really lucky if they have one child. And that's really the only reason that they have one child, and they would want more. But why do you need to just add? I already have one. Why do I need more? So there's that. I'm perfectly fine with just the one, and having more would just be stupid and foolish of me, because being pregnant just was not good. It's not a good idea again. It would probably be, I could probably be wheelchair bound for the rest of my life if I get pregnant again. Who knows? If I'm like I am now, who knows what I could be like after the next pregnancy. So, and then just thinking back of how I was being pregnant, how bad it was for me, I would not be able to take care of Seth the way that he needs taken care of. I would just need someone else to watch him, even if I was just lying around, because that's all I could do is lie around, and that would not be fair for Seth. So my main concerns are basically him and what his future holds, and, you know, just basically it's just how it will affect Seth and how it would affect us if we had another kid. And it just works best if we don't have another one. We don't need another one. We've already got one. People are always telling me I should have Brent do the vasectomy. Why? That's not something that I would want him to do. If it was his choice, if he went out and said, hey, I want to do this, like I said, hey, I want to do this, then yeah, that would be different. But he didn't. I volunteered. It's my decision, and that's what I want to do. I don't want to have any fear of being pregnant again. So I just want to know that I'm not going to have any more. So I just want it done. That's all it is to it. Just want it done. So some of you probably will never understand that. Some of you will. But adding everything together, it's the right thing to do. No matter what anybody else says, it's the best decision for us, for our family.